This is me, Shomujit. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to speak about the siege on the city of Mosul, and today we have with us Surbhi Gupta to discuss about the issues regarding the offense against ISI. Thank you for joining us. Why is this siege so important? Why is the city of Mosul so significant?
See, Mosul, if you see, it's the last urban stronghold of the Islamic State in Iraq. And in 2014, their leader, Abu Bakr al Baghdadi, established and declared a caliphate in the city of Mosul. So, it is a city from where they spread their versions of Islamic law in the Arab world and beyond. So now if we see that the offensive which is going on in the city of Mosul, there are 1.5 million people living there. So it is important for us to consider their plight, because this will increase the refugee crisis being faced with the world right now, and also for the Iraqi government to to govern the recaptured city, which has seen 2 years of tyranny by the Islamic State. So there are a lot of challenges which come, and it has been an economic center for Iraq. So it is a very important city.
It will take time for it to heal. But apart from the refugees, what other problems do you see in the aftermath of the recapture of the city?
So if you see, Mosul has a profound significance for both the Kurds and the Arabs. Also, it has importance for the Sunnis and the Shias. So analysts and talks in the diplomatic circles are such that they predict and they fear that the recapture could widen the fault lines between the communities than bring them together. Also, Mosul has a lot of it. It has a majority of Sunnis, which are otherwise a minority in
Iraq.
Iraq. And the government, and they feel, and they for a long time they have felt alienated by the Shia dominated government. And also, if you see, the Iraqi forces right now are dominated by Shias. So there are fears of sectarian crisis, which Iraq has seen since a long time.
So will the capture of the city entail the end of ISI as we know it?
You really can't say. So the last time we saw, like we've been seeing that as ISIS is losing territory, there has been a spike of terrorist attacks in Europe, like how we saw the Bataclan attack in France last year. So as these fighters return back, and many of them come from Europe, it can lead to an increase in freelance attacks by these angry sympathizers. Also, you see that territorial losses, but what optimists say that, because of the territorial losses, it will lead to a loss of tax revenue for the Islamic State, for a loss of oil too. Also, with no territory, they won't have space for the training of the fighters, for the launching, planning, plotting of the propaganda further. So what analysts say is that even if ISIS comes back, it'll be an ISIS 2.0, a shadow of the former self. And there's a precedent to this. Like when we saw the Al Qaeda being driven out of Afghanistan, they were in their safe havens in Pakistan, but they could never emerge as their former self. And it led to their silent, slow, steady decay. So they expect the same with the ISIS, but at the same time they're pessimists, and what they say is that from 2007 to 2014 we've seen that ISIS did not have a strong territorial hold in Iraq, but still it emerged, and it was a game changer in Islamic extremist groups and in the world, which the world has ever seen. So they're expecting that the inspiration which they have to re-establish a caliphate, and the current, that is one reason. Another is that we see continuing political instability in the Middle East, with so many different militant factions which are at war with each other. So which can again, like in the past, it had led to a rise of Islamic State, it could lead to a re-emergence of Islamic State in the future. So we can just sit here and see and watch, because when it comes to Middle East politics, unforeseen consequences is the rule and not an exception.
Thank you for joining us. That was me, Shomujit, signing off.